Verdict has come at the moment. The Supreme Court has declared the NJAC unconstitutional. That's the big judgment that has come. Effectively, what the Supreme Court has said is that the appointment of a National Judicial Appointments Committee is unconstitutional. That effectively means that the Supreme Court is saying the law passed by the Parliament, ratified by 20 state assemblies, is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court effectively wants to retain the right to appoint the judges under the collegium system. As I was about to say to Mr. Khemka, asked him, are we now heading for a confrontation between the political class and the judiciary, between the Parliament and the Supreme Court? Well, if this judgment, and we'll be getting more details on it in a moment, is right, then it means that the Supreme Court is telling the Parliament that the law that you have passed is unconstitutional. You have taken over a right that we had to appoint judges. You do not have that right. We are therefore now heading for a full-blown confrontation. Remember, this is a 5-judge bench. So presumably, Mr. Khemka, there is the possibility of going in appeal and asking for a fuller constitutional bench. No, is that a possibility at all?
I don't think so.
That's how that won't happen? Is this the final verdict effectively?
I think it's a final verdict, and there would, let us see what the judgment is. But one of the basic technical problems with this was that the constitutional amendment bill and the act were passed together. Before, the act could not have been passed unless the constitution had been amended. Please understand.
No, but the constitution has been amended. Subsequent to that, it has gone to the Supreme Court, where effectively the likes of Fali Nariman, as I have argued, that the basic structure of the constitution is being violated.
That is another thing. But there was a technical objection also, that the constitution amendment was made effective in January 2015. But the act itself, on the basis of the constitution amendment, had been passed along with the constitution amendment, which could not have been passed.
No, so I take your point, but the big picture at the moment is, and Anusha, who covers the courts for us, is joining us. Anusha, first of all, tell us exactly what has been said. There were 5 judges. Is this a split verdict or a unanimous verdict?
As far as we know, this has been a unanimous judgment delivered by the Supreme Court, and different judges have written different opinions about 1,000-page judgments. Justice Keher, leading the argument today, first thanked all of the lawyers which were present in the court, and it was quite a scene at the court today. Not a single big name in the world of legal fraternity was not present. His words were that the NJAC is declared as unconstitutional. The 99th Amendment to the Indian Constitution has been declared as void by the 5-judge bench, saying that NJAC cannot be used as a process to appoint the senior judges to the Supreme Court and at the High Court. The other point is that the bench has refused to refer this matter to a larger bench. Government had made a plea saying that this matter should be referred to a 11 or a 13-judge bench because of the Supreme Court earlier precedents. However, the 5-judge bench has refused and given a verdict saying that the old collegium system of appointment of judges, where the same system which has been criticized for being opaque, not accountable to people, and of course not transparent, that system will survive. That is another crucial setback coming in for the government, because this was one of the key reform moves trying to replace the collegium system.
What is the reason that they've given? Do we have an idea of the reasoning when they've declared it unconstitutional, specific reasons, Anusha?
It is about interfering with the basic Indian Constitution, which is the separation of powers. Fali Nariman, one of the leading constitutional lawyers in the country, was the petition in this case, and this were the 2 crucial facets of his argument. One, that this interferes with the basics of the Constitution.
Anusha, I'm going to stop you. Your line is cracking. Let's just listen into lawyers who are reacting to the judgment. Effectively, as Anusha is saying, the judgment, according to the Supreme Court, the NJAC defies the basic principle of separation of powers and is an intrusion on the powers of the judiciary, and therefore the National Judicial Appointments Commission is being declared illegal. Let's listen into lawyers who are speaking on the judgment.
Will continue.
So what were the observations that the court made in favor of taking this
in a historic judgment today by the Constitution Bench of Supreme Court of India, led by Honorable Justice J.S. Keher, The Honorable Supreme Court has declared 99th Amendment of the Constitution seeking appointment of Judicial Commission as unconstitutional. The ground for unconstitutionality is that it violates the basic structure of the Constitution. As per the basic structure of the Constitution, independence of judiciary is a part of the basic structure, and it interferes with the independence of judiciary, and thus the basic structure cannot be allowed to be tampered with. So on that ground, the Constitution Bench has declared the amendment unconstitutional. The old system of collegium system, where the senior most judges will choose the judges, will continue. That has been restored.
So what has been the equal? I mean, how many judges were for it, or was it unanimous?
It was the majority judgment.
Sir, your name and
Number they were still reading when we came.
Okay.
so
Yes.
your name.
Dr. Suraj Singh, Advocate, Supreme Court.
Okay.
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Thank you. सर, हिंदी में भी बता दीजिए.
आज एक बहुत ही ऐतिहासिक महत्वपूर्ण फैसले में
There you have Suraj Singh, an advocate in the Supreme Court, saying that the NJAC has been declared unconstitutional because the Supreme Court 5-judge bench believes that the separation of powers that effectively allows the judiciary to function independently of the parliament and the executive has been breached, they believe, by the setting up of the NJC.